Namaskar friends. Pakistan is sitting on a time bomb that is ticking away and it's fast running out of time. The ticking time bomb is Pakistan's demography and population age structures. It's a tragedy of missed opportunities and looming disasters, with Pakistan missing out on the once-in-a-lifetime demographic dividend that could turn into a demographic nightmare. I am Tilak Devasher and you're watching The Great Game Reloaded. The population of Pakistan was 32.5 million in 1951 and currently is estimated at 240 million, growing at 2.55% per annum. Pakistan's median age in 2006 was 20 years. By 2050, it is projected to be 33, by when the population could reach approximately 335 to 350 million, depending on the population growth rate. Currently, about 66% of Pakistan's population is below the age of 30. 25 million of these in the school-going age do not go to school. Is Pakistan ready for this population surge and age distribution? Let me explain. The thing about demographic trends and age structures is that if they are anticipated and planned for, rich economic dividends can be reaped. Conversely, if the necessary measures are not taken early, the consequences will manifest themselves after decades, by which time it may be too late to rectify the situation. Experts believe that Pakistan is experiencing a once-in-a-lifetime window of opportunity of a demographic dividend, where the working-age population is more than the young and the old, creating the conditions for an economic spurt. More workers means more production, more tax revenues, and higher economic growth. East Asian countries reaped this dividend. They educated their youth, created jobs, and became economic powerhouses. India has a similar age structure as Pakistan and has been able to reap the demographic dividend, and so is experiencing a big economic surge. Pakistan too has this chance, but there is a caveat. The opportunity has to be harnessed, just as India has done. If harnessed, it could lead to potentially greater economic activity as in India. If it is not capitalized upon, it could lead to massive unemployment and its attendant consequences. So the catch is that a dividend is only useful if you cash it in. Let's do a deep dive here about the mechanics of the demographic dividend. Pakistan's working age population of 15 to 64 years reached 52% in the late 80s and early 90s, 59% in 2006, and is currently estimated to be about 60% of the population, creating the possibility of a demographic dividend. This current share of 60% of the working age population is expected to peak at 68% around 2045, by when it will start declining again as the population begins to age and moves out of the working age group. Thus, the once-in-a-lifetime window for a demographic dividend for Pakistan is roughly between 1990 and 2045. Of these 55 years, 35 have already passed without any uptick in economic growth. In order to actualize the demographic dividend, the basic question to be asked is whether those entering the labor market can be absorbed productively against the backdrop of an increasingly globalized and technologically advanced world. According to one estimate, by 2030, there are likely to be 175 million potential workers in Pakistan, of which 90 million will be males and 85 million females. Given the low female employment rates, conservative estimates are a total of roughly 105 million in the labor force by 2030. But here's the problem. The economy isn't creating enough jobs. A GDP growth of 5% has been generating employment for less than 1 million persons per year. Based on population projections, 3.1 million persons are expected to enter the labor force every year over the next 4 decades. Thus, what Pakistan needs is a sustained GDP growth of over 7% to generate employment to absorb these numbers. It would have to grow even faster if the current unemployment rate of 6% is to be reduced. Pakistan's GDP over the last few years has been growing between 2 and 4%. Given the structural problems in Pakistan's economy, there are few signs of optimism that its GDP will achieve high growth rates in the near or medium term. In episode 14, I had talked about the education emergency in Pakistan that had led to low level of education and technical skills of the workforce. According to calculations made some time ago, almost 60% of the labor force was either illiterate or had just done primary. Not surprisingly, Pakistan is stuck in what has been called low-level skills equilibrium trap, which severely restricts its move into higher value-added sectors essential for raising productivity and increasing economic growth. Another serious problem of a growing population is urbanization. It is estimated that by 2025, almost 50% of Pakistan's population could be residing in cities. A government document titled Pakistan Vision 2025 states that if current trends of rural to urban migration continue, the share of urbanization will exceed 50% in 2025. It adds, and I quote, "The inability of the cities to absorb, comfortably accommodate, and meaningfully employ rural to urban migrants exacerbates social ethnic tensions between native and migrant populations." The challenge for Pakistan will be to address the existing problems of the large urban centers while planning ahead for the continued migration towards cities. The one positive feature of the otherwise gloomy demographic scenario is the outward migration of Pakistani labor. Presently, Pakistan has a huge and diverse diaspora sprinkled all over the world. Pakistan is one of the largest labor exporting countries in the region, and huge remittances from the overseas workforce is one major source of income, not only for their families, but also for the development of Pakistan. What happens if the demographic dividend is not realized? The flip side of an unrealized demographic dividend is that the massive youth bulge could pose a serious threat to law and order, including in Pakistan's case, the threat of terrorism. The danger for Pakistan is that without sustained economic growth and without investment in education, the demographic dividend would degenerate into a demographic horde with all its attendant consequences of frustration, alienation, and violence. The other problem with an unrealized demographic dividend is that an unproductive population would pose huge pressure on resources like food, water, and energy. A country that was near to being self-sufficient in food in the early 1980s has a food security and malnutrition issue today, largely due to increased population. A more widespread risk of not operationalizing the demographic dividend is the radicalization of youth. The threat of millions of young, impoverished, and unemployed Pakistanis succumbing to extremism. To quote the Pakistan Vision 2025 document again, a large set of Pakistani youth is dissatisfied, frustrated, and in a state of disarray due to low education levels and large-scale unemployment. This has led to serious social problems, including drug abuse, crime, mental disorder, terrorism, and religious fanaticism. Unquote. Finally, it is worth noting that after the period of demographic dividend, there would be rapid population aging. The size of the population aged over 65 will rise from 7.5 million in 2010 to 30 million in 2050, representing 10% of the country's population at the latter year. This will pose societal challenges, including those of healthcare for the elderly. Pakistan then could be caught between a large, uneducated, and unskilled young population and a significant older population, which would place an extraordinary burden on Pakistan's economy and society. Pakistan thus stands at a pivotal moment in its history. 35 years of the once-in-a-lifetime demographic dividend window of opportunity have already passed by, without any visible signs of an economic upsurge. As of now, there does not appear to be any urgency on the part of the Pakistani leadership, civilian or military, to make the necessary investments for a vastly improved human capital and to boost economic growth and development to productively employ its youthful population. No thinking seems to have gone into understanding the needs of a changing age structure. There are no shortcuts here. The policies that Pakistan adopts or does not adopt today, the investment that it makes or does not make today, will determine the kind of country that Pakistan will be in the next 3 decades. Pakistan will have to make heavy investments, not merely to realize the demographic dividend, but to ensure that the demographic dividend does not become a demographic nightmare, that Pakistan's population structure, instead of becoming once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, does not turn into a ticking time bomb, hastening the country's slide towards the abyss. Time clearly is not on Pakistan's side. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and comment. See you soon with another episode. Till next time, I am Tilak Devasher. Namaskar and Jai Hind.